Hey everybody, welcome back to GWN. I'm Noctair, your host. If you're new to the channel, please do hit that subscribe button down below. Help us build it up. Getting close to 1,000 subscribers with this video, and that's kind of cool. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about the bracket space again. I've done some videos on this in the past. It's a very common meta base, something that a lot of people really struggle with. And I've had some comments here lately about, hey, Nox, still having some problems. Can you share some more replays? So I thought I would. And I put the word out to everybody that if they had a really good replay they'd like to share, you know, level 8 defenses, 70% or better takedown, 2 stars, that I'd love to see it and we could put it up. And I got this one from Baby at Adult's Revenge. I actually got 2 of them. And what Baby does is basically divide the base into 2 halves, a top and a bottom. This base is kind of turned around to the side 90 degrees, so it's kind of a lower left and an upper right, I guess you would say. But the side that's got the builder hall gets hit with the 2 dropship shimmy. And the dropships go in to just kind of distract the air bombs and the roaster long enough for the beta minions to do some damage and work their way up to and around the builder hall. Now in this case, you hold back a few beta minions on a just in case basis, because if for some reason maybe the beta minions peel off around the sides instead of going straight into the builder hall, which can happen, especially if the high and low hit point structures are situated in just a way as to make it work that. But by keeping a few of them back, you're going to be okay and able to send some in to take it down at the very end if for some reason that happens. If you don't, then well, you know, you got a few beta minions that you can use at the very end to take out some extra buildings, get a few extra percentage points, right? The second half of the attack comes at the other side of the base, and this is kind of the long tooth side of the base, if you will. You do a ground attack, P.E.K.K.A carts in this case. You send in the battle machine and the super P.E.K.K.A to take out those bottom few buildings and break your way into the base. In go the cannon cars as well behind them, and it's still kind of a protected space. I mean, they're a little more exposed, especially since there's not a whole lot of targets there, unlike in say a Jai cart or something like that. But they work their way in, and if you remember, we only had 33% damage when we took out the builder hall. And when this ends up, we're going to have 79%. That's 46% more just from the ground attack and picking up a few buildings at the end with the leftover beta minions. That's a lot. And it's a very effective attack strategy. In fact, Baby gave us a second video or second replay that I have at the end of this video that you can watch. It's a little bit longer. You know, they're typically 2.5 minute long replays, if you will. And that's to be expected because these kinds of attacks, when you're customizing your army, you're really going for a higher percentage. It does take a little while longer to do that. So no problem there with that. And here we go. We'll get that last bit, that gem mine, and knock out our 79% 2-star. Boom. All right. Now, the next 2 replays that I've got for you, something a little bit closer to what you've seen before and what you may have done in the past. Starting off, first of all, with Moist Succulent. We've got kind of a P.E.K.K.A cart with beta minions here. Beta minions serve the purpose of clearing out extraneous buildings. And most of these bracket bases are going to have some buildings around the sides or tops or whatever that you want to get out of your way. Then you start the ground attack. And the ground attack, you've got on the right-hand side, distract the roaster with the battle machine. And on the left-hand side, we want to get that giant cannon's attention with the super P.E.K.K.A. Now, you could go the other way around, of course, but that doesn't work out so well because the battle machine doesn't last very long against the giant cannon, something that a lot of folks really, really hate. But if you run it like this, you distract those 2, you're able to get most of your ground troops in to take out the bottom half of that base. At that point, you're left over with just your beta minions. And that's exactly what Daz has here. Now's the time to kick in and get yourself those extra percentage points at the end that we talk about all the time. So the beta minions are going to come in and just start sapping the outer edges of the base. Take out whatever else is there. You lose a couple of them to the air defenses along the way. But again, we got 19. That's plenty to knock down another 10, 20, 30% depending upon, you know, what all is out there in any given base and how far away they are from the firecrackers. And that's exactly what we see here was about, I think it's a 74-2. Yeah, it's a 74-2 on this one. So another good, solid result. As we've said in the past, if you can break 65% 2-star, you got a really, really good chance of standing in the winner's circle. And that's exactly what we're seeing in most of these replays is the guys typically go for a good 70% or better to try to secure that win. Now here we got Ben, and everybody knows Ben. He is, without a doubt, the most addicted shimmier in the world. Nobody does the minion drop shimmy attack strategy like Ben does. Man, he does it all the time. It is definitely his thing. And this is no different. Starts off by sending in some beta minions just to knock out a few buildings to keep the pathing in place with the drop ships, because you don't want them to bunch up. And if those low hit point buildings are still there, they'll move in toward it and it'll mess everything up. But they go in, work their way up towards the middle. They get hooked in by the guard post troops, continue to work their way into the two firecrackers that are sitting there. And all the while, you've got your beta minions that are coming up from the rear. While the dropships absorb the roaster and the air bombs and the firecracker damage, the beta minions are able to take all those out. And you just got this nice, long offensive line of beta minions working their way straight through. In the end, you walk away with a better than 70% 2-star almost every single time using this particular attack strategy. And that's right where you want to be. This particular base, you can see the layout of it. Take a look at the walls. This is the R2-D2 version of the brackets base. And all you do is you take the two sides, you bring them down a little bit, and you close them off, and it looks like R2-D2's two legs. Yeah, pretty cool. Last one I've got is another one from Baby, using the exact same methodology as the very first one that I showed. And it works so well. And this works against a lot of the boxier style bases. You divide the base into two halves, one for ground, one for air, and then you use whichever seems the more appropriate on the side that it'll do the most damage. So in this case, we're going to come up from the bottom because that's where the builder hall is with our air attack. And the two dropships go in, they'll distract the roaster, and now the air bombs. Beta minions, they just come right on up from behind them and doing their thing. All the dropships have to do is last long enough for the beta minions to work their way into the middle and take out most of the existing buildings that are there as kind of a blockade. Once that's done, they can work on the roaster and the air bombs themselves, and we've got the builder hall just kind of sticking out. Now, this is why I've said in the past, make sure you hold back a few of your beta minions, because if this one had not gone that way, then we wouldn't be able to get the builder hall, because there's no way you're going to get any of your ground troops in there without at least bombers to break down the walls to take out that builder hall. So we've got the builder hall down, 29% damage, not too bad. It's time to bring in the ground attack. Start off by getting those last few army camps that are sticking around on the outside there, and Battle Machine will break into the building. Notice the placement of the Super P.E.K.K.A. Again, coming down the side closest to the giant cannon. We want the giant cannon to fixate on the Super P.E.K.K.A., and that's exactly what happens. The Super P.E.K.K.A. can take it. She'll take, I think it's 3 hits, maybe a little bit more before she goes down. And that's all you really need to be able to get the time to bring the rest of your ground troops in and get that additional damage. Now here we got another example of 79-2. So it's a real good solid hit and another win. Because once again, we're over that 65% mark. You almost always end up in the win. I really like this split the base into custom attack strategy. I think it's a good way to ease yourself into using more custom attack strategies. And all these guys are hanging out in that 4,800 to 5,000 trophy mark right now, which is almost to the top. I think the high on the global leaderboards right now is around 54 or 5,500. So we're seeing good, strong competitors, max, near max bases again, and some good solid attack strategies you can use on just about any level from 3,000 and up. So that's the video for today. I hope that helps you guys with the bracket base even more. Like I said, go back and review some of the old ones that we've done as well. Lots of different ways to take this base down. It's meta, it's tough, but you can definitely do it. Thanks for sticking to the end of the video. And I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Y'all take care. Keep on clashing. Bye-bye.